This presentation, A Consumer's Guide to Long-Term Care Insurance, will focus on 2014 prices, specifically for a couple age 60. This is Jesse Sloan, Executive Director of the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance. And of the many, many calls that we get from consumers, the two most prevalent questions are, what do policies cost? How can I save money? And what don't I really know? So we've compiled data from the 2014 Long-Term Care Insurance Price Index to help you gauge basically what you're looking at as you start the process. What you pay for long-term care insurance is going to be based on a number of factors. Starting in 2014, a number of the major insurers, not all of them, started to charge single women more for the same coverage than they would charge single men. And there's an obvious reason for that. Women account for a far greater need for long-term care, and they actually receive about two-thirds of all benefit dollars that are paid out by the insurers. The other factors are your age when you apply. Clearly, the younger you are, the less you'll start to pay. Your health when you apply, that is most important. The amount of coverage that you select, the more insurance you want, the more it will cost you, and what discounts you qualify for. Each insurer will offer discounts, not all the same, and they won't all have the same rules for them. That's an important thing to keep in mind. After studying prices for many, many years, here are four important things to keep in mind. The rates for virtually identical insurance will vary from one insurance company to the next. When we do our annual price index, it's very common to see the spread be as much as 90%, and we'll show you some numbers a little bit later. Now, no one insurance company is always the least expensive, and no one insurance company is always the most expensive. They each have what we call a sweet spot. Sometimes it's age, sometimes it's whether you're married or single. They also each have various health conditions that they will look at. You know, today when you're 55, 60, chances are you take some prescription drugs and you may have some health conditions. Well, that's very important for you to understand that the insurers each have different requirements. A very important factor to keep in mind is the difference in definition between an insurance agent and an insurance broker. I know they sound alike to most people. An insurance agent typically only can represent one insurance company, so clearly they're going to favor that company and tell you that's the best company for you to buy. An insurance broker is able to represent multiple companies. That doesn't mean they can, and we'll talk at the very end about how to find a good specialist who can shop the market for you and get you the best coverage for the best price. We strongly recommend today that consumers take what I call the good, better, best approach to looking at long-term care insurance. Specifically, what do I mean by that? A good approach is picking a set amount of long-term care insurance benefits that will likely pay some of the costs, not all of the costs. Because don't forget, when you probably need this care, you will have some savings. You will have retirement income. You'll have Social Security and other things that you can use to pay some of the cost of care. Better coverage is one that offers a feature called the guaranteed purchase option or the future purchase option. This allows you to buy some insurance protection today at a lower price, add that option, which allows you to increase the benefits in future years. Now, not all insurance companies offer this option, but it's definitely, especially if you're younger today in your late 40s, 50s, and even young 60s, it might be something you want to take a look at. The best approach, clearly one that includes a yearly inflation growth option. Today, 3% annual is a pretty common factor that's used. We'll show you, though, how much more this is going to add to your yearly cost, but it will also clearly add to the benefits that you are able to get down the road. So let me put some numbers to the good, better, best approach. Good coverage, let's say when we give you prices in a minute, we're going to look at what $164,000 of benefits for each person really is worth. That's sort of about a 3-year plan, and that's pretty typical today. A better approach starts you with the $164,000 for each individual, but it gives you the option, as I said, to add more coverage down the road without having to meet those health requirements. So that's a really sweet option. The best approach, well, clearly, if you bought this coverage at age 60, each person would start with $164,000 of benefits. That would grow over the 25 years at 3% compounded annually, so that when you reached age 85, your policy would be worth $365,000 of potential benefits for each person. So now, what would a couple who are both age 60 and both in pretty good health pay yearly in 2014 for long-term care insurance? Well, based on the 2014 price index, our good plan of coverage, each of you getting $164,000 of benefits, just under $2,000 a year, $1,945 is sort of the average rate. The better coverage, the one that includes that guaranteed purchase option, the ability to buy extra coverage without having to meet the health requirements, that's going to add a few $100s to your premium, about $2,200 a year. And don't forget, when you add more coverage down the road, you'll pay obviously more. The best coverage, the one with the 3% annual inflation growth option, that's going to cost you literally double what the good coverage costs, about $3,800 yearly. These are combined rates for both individuals, not for each of you, combined for the couple. But don't forget, you'll each have about $380 or a combined pool of money of about $700,000 that you are able to tap into should you need long-term care services down the road. I mentioned earlier that insurance companies charge quite different rates for virtually the same coverage. So when we do our spread at the Association of the Price Index, just want to give you a flavor so that you understand what the difference really looks like. For the good coverage, you can see a low of $1,500, a high of almost double. The better coverage, again, $1,000 difference a year. And in the best coverage, the difference is $1,700 a year. Now, we never object. At the end of the day, you pick the company that you think is the best for you, but it is important to do some comparison shopping if price is a concern. And for most people, it obviously is. I want to thank you for watching. We've kept this presentation brief, but the American Association for Long-Term Care Insurance has enormous consumer information on its website. We have a number of guides that you can access for free. There's no sign-in information required to read them online. Just go to the website. The shortcut is aaltci.org/guides, and then you can open them and read them all online. I want to thank you for watching this presentation. If you are ready to request a no-obligation quote, what I would suggest you do is one of two things. First, you can call the association weekdays during regular business hours, and we'll do our best to answer your questions, and if it's appropriate for you, to match you with an endorsed long-term care insurance specialist. This is an independent broker who represents all the leading long-term care carriers. Long-term care insurance is their specialty, and they will, with no cost and no obligation, answer your questions, provide you with good information and education, compare all of the leading insurance companies, and help you make a good decision without any pressure, and as I said, without any obligation. You can also go to our website, look for this button to request a no-obligation quote, fill in your information. It will only go to one individual, so you will not get dozens of calls. Just one specialist will contact you, typically within 24 hours, and their job, as I said, is to educate you, answer your questions, and if you decide to proceed, help you get the best plan, the best options for the lowest cost. Thanks again for watching.